Hello and welcome viewers. You're watching In Depth with your host Kriti. Parliament of India has passed the Income Tax Bill 2025 and the Taxation Laws Amendment Bill 2025, with Rajya Sabha returning both the legislations to the Lok Sabha after discussions. Replying to the debate in Parliament, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that the new income tax legislation has been made taxpayer friendly. Here's everything you need to know about the new bill. Parliament of India on 12th of August passed the new Income Tax Bill 2025, incorporating significant revisions from the earlier draft introduced on February 12th. These amendments bring clarity, reduce ambiguity, and align many provisions closely with the existing Income Tax Act of 1961, benefiting individual and corporate taxpayers. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had used the acronym SIMPLE in February when she first tabled a first draft of the bill to refer to its guiding principles. Those principles are streamlined structure and language, integrated and concise, minimize litigation, practical and transparent, learn and adapt, and efficient tax reforms. The first draft was then referred to a select committee led by BJP MP Baijan Panda. The committee had made several suggestions and most of the suggestions have been accepted. Apart from simplifying the language, the number 2 bill clarifies reductions and strengthens cross-referencing across provisions and addresses ambiguities around income from house property, including standard deductions and pre-construction interest on home loans. It also introduces clearer definitions for terms such as capital asset, micro and small enterprise, and beneficial owner, while aligning tax treatment for pension contributions and scientific research expenditures.
I rise to move that the bill further to amend the Income Tax Act 1961 and to amend the Finance Act 2025 be taken into consideration.
प्रश्न यह है कि विधेयक पर विचार किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में है वो ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। विधेयक पर विचार करने हेतु प्रस्ताव को स्वीकृत किया गया। अब सभा विधेयक पर खंडवार विचार करेगी। प्रश्न यह है कि खंड 2 से 536 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में है वे ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। खंड 2 से 536 विधेयक का अंग बना। प्रश्न यह है कि अनुसूची 1 से 16वीं विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में है वे ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। अनुसूची 1 से 16वीं विधेयक का अंग बनी। माननीय वित्त मंत्री, संशोधन संख्या 1।
I move the amendment number 1.
प्रश्न यह है कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 1 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में है वे ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न यह है कि खंड 1 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में है वो ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। खंड 1 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। खंड 1 अधिनियम सूत्र और विधेयक का पूरा नाम। प्रश्न यह है कि अधिनियम सूत्र और विधेयक का पूरा नाम विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में है वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में है वो ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। अधिनियम सूत्र और विधेयक का पूरा नाम विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी अब यह प्रस्ताव करें कि यथा संशोधित विधेयक को पारित किया जाए।
Madam, with the permission, I rise to move that the bill as amended be passed.
प्रश्न यह है कि विधेयक यथा संशोधित को पारित किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में है वे ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत हुआ। विधेयक यथो संशोधित पारित हुआ।
The new bill removes redundant provisions and archaic language and reduces the number of sections. These changes are not merely superficial. They reflect a new, simplified approach to tax administration. This cleaner and more focused law is designed to make it easy to read, understand and implement. Let's take a look at the key highlights. Relief over tax refunds. Taxpayers can claim refunds even in case of late filing of returns. No penalty on late TDS filing. There will be no financial penalties in case of late filing of TDS. Nil TDS certificate. Taxpayers who don't have tax liabilities, that is, they don't pay income tax, can claim nil certificates in advance. This is applicable to both Indian and non-resident taxpayers. Commuted pensions. There will be an explicit tax deduction for commuted pension, lump sum pension payments for certain taxpayers. This applies to those receiving pensions from specific funds such as the LIC pension fund. Intercorporate dividends. Deductions for intercorporate dividends, that is dividends a company receives from shares held in another company, has been reinstated. For income from house property, the bill specifies that the annual value will be higher of actual rent or notional rent with a 30% standard deduction applied after municipal taxes are paid. The deduction for pre-construction interest has been extended to both self-occupied and let-out properties, and commercial properties that are temporarily vacant will not be extended on notional rent.
The new income tax scheme which was brought in so that people who still want to enjoy the benefits of some kind of deductions can remain in the old scheme, but people who want to be paying less tax with or without deductions, we came up with a user-friendly new regime. And there consequentially every year we've been reducing both the rate and widening the slabs, income slabs. This year, historically, as a big milestone, Prime Minister Modi said at least 12 lakhs tak no tax should be paid by any Indian citizen, which means up to 1 lakh per month's salary, no one will have to pay any tax. The structure was made simple, rates were reduced, rebates were given, so no tax for up to 12 lakhs income. And further, for others in a different income bracket, rates were reduced. So that is the way in which every budget we are making it easier for the taxpayer. Now, the point that I wanted to highlight is, if there's so much concern, and rightly as an opposition party they should have the concern for taxpayers, that they should not be burdened. The rate was brought down till 12 lakhs in the budget, which was in the finance bill of February 2025. Now, as promised in the July budget 2024, we are simplifying the whole tax law itself so that compliance will be easy. Even that is a very big step, as I said. And for that, when allocation of time also has been given, opposition is failing its duty in serving the people of India that they don't want to participate in this discussion, neither in Lok Sabha nor here. So, having said all this, I want to say, to remove any confusion in the minds of anybody, this amendment and bringing in a new law in the place of old 1961 aims at simplifying the language, the lucidity which is required for anyone to understand it, no anomalies or any overlapping language that leads to misinterpretations. So this aims at only that. There are no new rates being brought in here, no tax issues which are being brought in here. That will come every year as it does in the finance bill. This is purely for making the document simpler. And I must say, sir, like the way we've done today in the insolvency and the bankruptcy code, where we are bringing the next generation of IBC, bigger reform, that also has gone to the select committee. Lok Sabha has had that introduced today and it has been sent to a select committee. Even this act, when it was introduced in February, in July itself I did say that wide consultations will be held. This act, when it was brought in, was sent to a select committee. And I must thank and put on record my gratitude for the extensive work that select committee in the chairmanship of Baijent Panda, MP from Lok Sabha, and his entire team, which consisted of members from all parties represented in the Parliament. They all did extensive work, they consulted, they went around the country, they met with experts, domain experts, tax experts. They met with so many people and taken intensive inputs from these people. So, the committee consisted of 31 members from across, as I said, from across the political spectrum. The committee held 36 meetings, engaging extensively with government officials, stakeholders and experts, and received 334 memoranda containing a wealth of valuable inputs and suggestions. So the committee, if we did that many number of person hours, 75,000 person hours from the department, the committee had 36 meetings and took 334 memorandum from the public. Now, after all that, the select committee, in its report, which was submitted to the Lok Sabha Speaker, has put forward 566 recommendations. The intensity and the gravity of the work is what I want to highlight before you, Honorable Deputy Chairman, sir. Of these 566 recommendations, the committee itself agreed to department's view in response. The suggestions came, the department gave its response. The committee agreed for the department's view for about 370 cases. So 566 was the suggestion given. In 370 proposed cases, accepted the clause as was proposed in 370 cases. Further, sir, not going into too much details, but it is so important that I want to give a few information to you. Redundant provisions were removed. Archaic languages were also removed. We have reduced the number of sections which many honorable members spoke about. The total number of sections, sir, were 819 in the 1961 Act. 819 sections. They have now come down to 536 sections. Complete cutting down. And the number of chapters were 47 in the 1961 Act. We have cut it down to 23 only. The number of words, which again many members spoke about it, 5.12 lakh words were there in the 1961 Act. It has been now brought down to 2.6, literally half the size of what it was. Also, sir, because we are talking of 21st century, people are very used to having a lot of graphs, pictorial depictions, tables and matrix given to them so that they can easily understand things. So people have got used to that. Normally, our laws don't have any of these. They go very staid in language, very staid in the way the language is used, and only text will follow further text. Whereas we thought, since we are working this century, we should have tables to make people understand how the law functions, where possible. And we are also showing through formulations as to how it will function. So for the first time in this Act, we have brought 39 new tables and 40 new formulae to replace textual narration. So when people see numbers, when they see comparisons, or when they see it laid out in a simpler format, it is easy for them. So we've adopted this novel method in a law, in an act which is going to be passed by the Parliament, which normally doesn't happen.
The Select Committee, chaired by Baijent Panda, had suggested a host of changes. There were corrections in the nature of drafting, alignment of phrases, consequential changes and cross-referencing. Thereafter, a decision was taken by the government to withdraw the Income Tax Bill 2025. Consequently, Income Tax No. 2 Bill 2025 was prepared to replace the Income Tax Act of 1961.
In 11 years of the Modi government, a lot of old, complicated, obsolete laws have been overhauled. Lots of new, modern laws have been brought into place. GST is just one example. There are many. Hundreds of old, obsolete laws have been changed. And in similar vein, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had promised Parliament last year that the Income Tax Act needs to be simplified. The existing Income Tax Act is 64 years old, has thousands of amendments, very complex, very hard to understand, 19th century language, and even experts sometimes are not able to figure out what is taxable, what is not taxable. This leads to a lot of disputes, a lot of litigation. And so the first big step of that was a simplified new income tax bill. Now, this has to be seen in the context that this is the first major big reform happening. But there's no policy change happening at this stage. It is just that the existing law is being simplified. Now, once this happens, the policy changes that the government makes, it makes every year, become much more easy to implement because the context, the underlying law itself is simple. So the Select Committee met over several months, and of course it's all party, as you know. I must thank and compliment my fellow members on the Select Committee because everybody worked like a team. And the focused idea was that this is being done for the nation. This is being done in taxpayers' interest to simplify it. So the objectives can be summed up as follows. Simplify the Income Tax Act, make it easy to understand, make it easy to comply, and therefore reduce disputes and litigation. And that has been achieved. The draft bill which was brought to Parliament few months ago by the ministry already had a lot of simplification. It had reduced the word count by 50%. But we put in a lot of hard work all these months and a lot of burning of the midnight oil. And we have come up with another more than 300 suggestions where it can be further simplified or clarified so that it's easy to implement, it's easy to comply with, and to reduce the disputes dramatically.
The new income tax bill was drafted within a record time of 6 months and introduced in the budget session in February 2025. The drafting of the new bill involved nearly 75,000 person-hours with a team of dedicated officers of the Income Tax Department working tirelessly. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman also informed Parliament that soon the Finance Ministry will be issuing frequently asked questions or FAQs and an information memorandum for more information on the new legislation. As the new bill will come into force from April 1, 2026, the computer systems of the Income Tax Department are required to be rebooted to operationalize the new legislation.
The systems, the computer systems which run our income tax will all have to be now rebooted for the newer law. Because the time is very short between now and 1st of April 2026. We need to have all the computers reset for the way in which this act has been subject to the approval of the Parliament. And therefore, if from 1st April 2026 we want to effect this, it's greatly appreciated that the Parliament has taken the initiative to pass it well in time so that between September and 31st of March, we will get the systems also clear.
Well, viewers, that's all we have for you in this edition. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Sansad TV. Goodbye for now from my side.
To watch more programs of Sansad TV, subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to like and share them.